When the markets are crashing, this is what you need to do right now. Hey, this is CEO Trades, where money works for you. Today, we're looking at how stocks and crypto are mimicking each other. I think this is probably the first time that they're mimicking each other in a very similar pattern lately. So let's take a look. First, we're looking here at Spider, which is the S&P 500 ETF trust. And this trust is one way of measuring what is going on in the markets. There are other ways to measure, but this is one of the ways that I like. Now, we can see here that in the last about 6 days or so, the Spider has dropped from 473 all the way to 421. What's going on? And it's actually dropped from its high, 479. That was its high. And it has dropped a good close to 15% from its highs. The market is in a correction phase. Why is that? Because of inflation, because everything's very expensive. Last week, when I alerted on Peloton, when it's lost over 60% of its value, that should give you a sign that where the overall market is headed. A lot of people have non-stop talks on what has happened with Peloton and a few other companies. It's not only Peloton. I reviewed 15 companies, and on the 15 companies that we looked at last week, you saw a similar pattern, maybe not as exaggerated as Peloton, but people are just fed up with the exuberant prices. There are some that aren't, and that's a reality. However, just in general, most people are fed up with the expensive prices that they've stopped purchasing some items. And now there's an opportunity, and that opportunity is what we're going to look at after I show you the differences that there are between stocks and crypto. Number one, let's look at Spider here. You can see this is today. It's down to 421. Is this going to keep going down? Probably it will go down a bit more. We can just take a look. Well, it's starting to consolidate right in here, meaning this might be the bottom. It might be the bottom right here because I see it hit one, two, it's about 3 or 4 times it's hit just about that range, 420 to 421. And once it hits that, is this the bottom of the recession of this correcting phase? And I say recession because I believe we are on target with what 2008 did to us. Very much on target. I posted in my Instagram page at CeoTrades underline a similar chart of what we have right now in stocks compared to in 2008, what we had there then in reference to stocks. And it's very, very similar. What has happened so far? Why is this going down? There's a lot of negative talk. I mean, the feds are attempting to raise interest rates to correct the overall market. Inflation is very high. The cost of just purchasing food and products is very high. Well, guess what? The cargo ships that bring in our foods into port are also charging an arm and a leg. Everything is up. It's unbelievable. So I believe that it's time for that correction. However, before we go into that, if you look at last year around February, March, you see that there was a correction phase right in here when the coronavirus started to impact deeply. And this was in this was in 2020. I don't think I have my chart here. Is that right? Let me just bring it up even more than that. There we go. Right here. This is what we're looking at. So you can see here that back in 2020, March of 2020, the Spider, it crashed. It went from 341 down to 218. That was about a 40% drop. 40% drop. That's amazing. Now, are we on par with having that same drop? We probably are. I just alerted this with some of my mentors and VIP people yesterday that there's a chance that the markets are going to drop a good 20% and possibly more in the next few days. Now, I've lost a lot of money, but I only lose it if I cash out. Why? Because if you look at this chart again and you just focus here on the negative aspect, right, the downside, then you're like, oh my God, I've lost all my money. Yes, you're correct. I won't kid you there. You've lost all your money. However, there's another side to this chart. Look at this. Look at it go up. How many days after did it take to go up? A good 2 weeks probably to catch up, maybe a little bit more than that, right? It went all the way up to August just to catch up to that from when it hit its bottom on March. That's 5 months. 5 months to be able to get to that level where it was pre-crash level. And look at that. Since August 3rd or so, it's gone up a good, what, from 340 all the way to 479. It went up beyond another 40%. So it's almost, it doubled. It actually doubled from the bottom here. And that's where the possibilities exist, is catching the bottom. Now, do we know when the bottom of this market is right now? No, we don't. But there's a chance that we are in the process of catching the bottom right now. Is this going to fall any further? We don't know yet. We do not know yet. It's not enough to be able to tell. Is there news that we are waiting for? Yes. Now, that's the good thing, is that as we watch the news, we're waiting for tomorrow to see what Microsoft and Apple have to say and the Feds have to say. Once that happens, we know that the Feds are looking to increase interest rates, but they're going to wait till March strategically. But the word is already out and people are bailing out on this right now. Now, in reference to crypto, which I'd like to share my screen as well here so that you can compare, cross compare. Now, this is Ethereum, and you can see in Ethereum here when it was back in March. Let's see, where are we? Somewhere in here. You can see that if we zoom into this, let me just zoom into this part right here. And you're going to see a big difference. So you can see back here in March, Ethereum dropped. It went from 243 down to 107. So it did a similar drop. And how long did it take to recover from that? Well, pretty much to June. So it took much less time to recover than actual stocks. Now, there's one other that I want to compare it as well with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is just the major trendsetter out of all the cryptos that are out there. And some people are just very much into these in reference to measurements. And you can see right here, when it dropped, give me a second here, right here, you can see when it dropped back, it went from 9,100 in 2020, March of 2020, to 4,700. It dropped half, 50%. How long did it take to recover? Let's see. I don't remember exactly, but we're going to take a look at this right now and see if we can just give you a more accurate view of what's going on here. So how long did it take to recover? Let's see. So as I get ready to show you this chart, just give me a second here. Having a little problem with is responding here. Right here. Okay, so it crashed right in here. 4,700, 3,700, right in there. And then it took, this was in March, February, or the high of February 2020. And this was February 15th. And then on May 30th or so, it recovered completely. So that was 3 months, 3 months. Do you see the difference? That's the difference. However, where are we now in comparison? Where are we now? And this is the wild thing, is that it's happening again. And as it's happening again, let me see if I can show you more of this chart here. It's going to be a little bit less showing because of my screen view. Give me 1 second here. There we go. Now we can see this. Now this has, Bitcoin has dropped from 6,900 to 3,500, close to half, close to half. This is about a 50% drop. Have we reached the bottom of what Bitcoin can be? There's a chance that this might go down to 30,000, maybe even 29, somewhere right in here along this level. Right now it's up here, and it takes a little while. It's not overnight. It's not instantly that this happens, because some people catch on during the day after things have processed and they've become aware of it. So now that you see that Bitcoin has dropped almost 50%, 40%, let's call that 40%, right? Compared to stocks, which have also dropped, guess what's going to happen? Eventually, things will turn around. If you bail out right now and you cash all out, you might not catch it on the way up. There are a lot of stocks that I'm losing on that maybe they'll recover, but there's a possibility that I might lose on them. And it's the same thing for everything. If you're aware of how your investments are, then great, great. Bitcoin will recover. Ethereum will recover. Microsoft will recover. Apple will recover. But are your investments sound? And this is where getting mentoring, getting part of a program that alerts you, that allows you to identify when to go in, when to go out, maybe not perfectly, but you have better eyes all around you on how to make these investments. This is what it's about. That's why I alerted my team yesterday, my VIP team, that stocks and crypto would likely drop a good 20% today. And I'm pretty much on target. I have one investment that if it drops another, 30 or 40%, hey, I don't know if I'm going to make it back. I think I will, but it's very, very low. Are there other sectors that are high? Yes. And we're going to look at that tomorrow. Which sectors are above? Which ones can I benefit on? Which ones can I jump in? Which ones are good for long-term holding? And that's what we're going to look at. This is CEO Trades, where money works for you. Please like, subscribe, and share, because if you share, you care. And don't forget that if you want to grow your bank account, why don't you build your knowledge account so that your money account will grow multiplied? Stay safe. And until tomorrow, when we're going to look at some of these stocks and crypto that are good to hold for the long term.